Linda Calafiore. Present. Donna Jett. Present. Ellen Martin. Present. Judy Refuerzo.
Here.
John Mysick.
Present.
We have a quorum. Thank you.
Great. With that, I'd like to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all.
With that, I'll open it up to any public appearances for items not on the agenda. Anybody online? I know we have a couple. Anyone?
I guess I'll just offer thanks for all of everything that you guys do, and all the folks there. You just keep the village going and connected. It's just wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. The voice from above that we have in here. Thank you very much, Nancy. And with that, I'll turn it to announcements from commissioners, and I'd just like to say thank you to Judy and to Linda for all their service to this city and to the commission. Judy, 10 years on the commission. Linda, 8 years on the commission. Pretty incredible commitment to this city, and I hope others follow in your footsteps, because we need great leaders, and you've been a great part of this community and added so much value, and I think created a lot of smiles and a lot of happy experiences. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I have to say, it certainly made me appreciate the community that we all formed and the community in general, because I was, pushed to do things that I never thought I would do. And serving as your chair for 2 years was really an honor. Thank you.
I'd like to add, too, since I'm the oldest one here, that I hate to see them go, because we've been such a good group where everyone's on the same page, and we all have the same goals and the same ideals. Thank you. And I did have an announcement about the third Thursday in May, that the beekeepers will be the entertainment, and they happen to be relatives of mine.
Full
They're
disclosure.
my daughter's brother-in-law and nephew. And they're really fun. So if you haven't heard the beekeepers, please come to the third Thursday in May, which is actually on the 25th, due to the art show. So mark your calendars, 4 o'clock. Be there. Thank you.
I'd also like to thank Judy and Donna also for your service. Not Donna, excuse me. I'm having Linda, yes, Linda. Even though I am the youngest on the committee as far as years being on the commission, it's been a pleasure working with you, and to have the history that you have and the knowledge is really serves everyone on the commission. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to staff and everybody. It's been wonderful all these years. All the different mayors I've seen, all the different liaisons I've had as head of the committee. It's been wonderful, and I love you all, and thank you. Yeah.
All right. Any announcements from staff?
Yes, a couple of announcements. So first, I want to thank all of you, Judy and Linda, for your service on this commission. It's been a joy to work with all of you. We're going to miss you both very much. And then the weather got in the way of us properly thanking Margie Perotti for her years of service at Community Activities Commission and to the entire city. I mean, my goodness, she's been in planning and building, been up to public works, and really worked hard to make our community activities events special for the community. And so I'm sorry that she's not here in person for this, but thank you, Margie, for everything that you've done for our commission and for the community over the years. It was wonderful, really wonderful working with Margie.
Who's replacing us?
I don't know yet.
Irreplaceable.
No one.
Exactly,
No
irreplaceable.
one. No one.
With that, let's move to approve the minutes for the February 14th regular meeting. Do I have anybody?
I motion that we approve the minutes.
I second.
Linda Calafiore.
I wasn't here.
Okay, that's right. Donna Jett.
Yes.
Ellen Martin.
Yes.
Judy Refuerzo.
Yes.
John Mysick.
Yes.
Approved. Thank you.
Updates on the 2023 special events calendar for the city of Carmel-by-the-Sea and potential new events and discuss, please.
All right, so in your packet, we have an updated version of all of the community activities events proposed. Some of the dates we're still working on nailing down, but we're getting there. And if you flip to one page of your packet, we have a nice new advertisement for this. This is going to be going into the Pine Cone for a couple weeks. We'll try to publish it quarterly so everybody knows what's coming up. It'll be on the website. I'll hand it out, put posters up in the PO, but I don't think anybody can miss this visual. It's pretty bright. So, and that includes all of our events. And as we go along, and in particular in September, with the dates for the homecoming parade and the community group fair, we'll get those plugged in. But we have a pretty robust calendar for this year in terms of events happening, the number of events per month. I think we're pretty bopping. One of the things I would like to contemplate adding, and this is a little far off, and it's something this group has discussed, so something for the future, community group fair in April. There's a whole week dedicated to volunteerism, not community group, volunteer appreciation, some sort of volunteer appreciation. We have a community group fair, and the intent of that is to bring people together so they know how and when to volunteer, but something in April during Volunteer Appreciation Week to thank all of our community groups and boards and commissions. I'm not sure what shape or form that will take quite yet, but I think that would be a nice addition to our slate of events for the year.
Is that in conjunction or in addition to Connection? The Connection event?
It would be in addition to, and it would be in April, and we'll keep the community group fair in September. So.
And the idea would be we'd work with the local community groups to kind of ensure that they're aware and they get their volunteers to show, just so we kind of brand it comprehensively. Is that the idea? For the community group fair, yeah, we did that in September this last year, and it was pretty well attended, and we'd like to do it again and bring everybody together. And this is something, we heard in community conversations, but people who are new in town or newly retired and have more time now to do things, how do I volunteer and get involved in my community? And that's how that event grew. Great. And that's all I have for the moment. Just going to start getting the word out. We're going to get into the thick of event season starting now. And it really feels like it kicks off with that July 4th Monterey Pops concert. So I think we're in a pretty good place to launch our new event season for this year. Any questions about anything that's on here? Are we anticipating any additional, I would imagine that the U.S. Open being in town for that July 4th event, we probably have more people locally than we're used to. It's going to be busy. So it's going to be busy. Mm-hmm. Are we thinking about any local street closures around Devendorf or anything? Yeah, last year we closed 6th Avenue between Mission and Unipro
that one block there so that the overflow can drift back towards the library, and we'll do that again this year as well.
With this very robust calendar, I don't see a need to add anything. I mean, in years past, we've been kind of looking for things to add, but this is so robust the way it is, I don't think we need to add.
I think things have kind of balanced themselves out where we've got something going, almost every month. Our quiet months right now are January and February, and with the storm season this last February and January, I'm not inclined to lean too heavily into those months and plan, though it did drift into March. So, but I think that this is a well-balanced calendar, not to mention we're not the only game in town. I mean, the Women's Club does great things, the library's planning things, the Carmel Foundation always has things going on, Sunset Center, Forest Theater. So, gosh, I can't imagine how many pages it would be if you combined everybody's things all together.
Right.
So we got a hopping community and a lot of good, enriching things going on.
Any other comments from commissioners? Any public comments? Okay. Receive an update on the farmers market and discuss.
All right. So the farmers market is starting to pick up again after the winter season. And we're seeing, vendors come back who had been on pause and hiatus. And the participation in the farmers market by community groups has been pretty robust. I'm going to be strict going forward about limiting that to 2 groups per week just because of space issues as we pull and add vendors back in. And that has proven a really good way to do outreach. And, we've had our traffic consultant, Brian Euler, our former interim chief, out there talking about the PACT program, and the CRA's out every month, village preservation, and I think people are getting a lot of good conversations going out there at the market. That's proven very valuable. And then, of course, planning for our third Thursday events and working with our market manager on that. But, things are starting to pick up out there. And I think everybody will notice that Ad Astra, if everyone hasn't gotten the word, I know it's been scuttled, but Ad Astra is out for 2 months, and that's because they're remodeling their space. So if you have questions about it, unfortunately, they're not at our market and they're not anywhere at this point in time.
I have some bread in my freezer.
Yes, I heard lots of people were coming to the market. I had somebody come the week after they left, and they were looking for Ad Astra. They had the name slightly wrong, but they were looking to buy the bread, and I realized, it's Ad Astra. So they'll be back with us at some point in the summertime. And that's all I have on the farmers market for right now.
Any comments from commissioners? Public comments?
I'll do one.
Nancy.
So actually, this is back to the third Thursday thing. We CRA hosted the wine and beer area in the last third Thursday, and it was good and awkward in many ways, and some of that's just tied to the fact that we're a nonprofit, and what we can do, and we don't have a retail liquor license, so we got covered on insurance and et cetera on the things to make it work, but then it required us to not directly connect financial contributions to the offering of wine and beer. So there was some awkwardness in it that made it kind of interesting. We ended up covering our costs, which is what we had looked to do, because we don't have, we're not a 501c3, we are a 501c4. And so we rely on mostly our membership dues to cover our costs. So anyway, I just thought I would share that. Don't know what that means for others in our similar circumstance with regard to hosting the beer and wine area, which I think is a great supplement to the third Thursday, but I thought I would just make that aware for others there that might be considering it, or again, we could do a deep dive into that subject offline to figure out if there's a better way to make things like this happen for organizations such as CRA.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. We can definitely do that and see how we can continue to work with community groups who are interested in taking on that role. But I think also a reminder that alcohol is not the focus of our Third Thursday event. And if it works for everybody, it works. And, we really appreciate the CRA being there, especially since it was rather last minute. And I was there and thought you guys did a great job. So thank you very much. And we'll continue the conversation offline.
Agree with what you said. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks.
Thank you. Wanda, did you have a comment? Oh, you're on mute. There we go.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry to go back. Someone knocked on my front door, but Ashley, you were talking about the Volunteer Appreciation Week, and I love that you said that. We just did that with our CERT team just at a quarterly meeting, but I think that's a great idea. And I was reminded, was it a couple years ago that we all met at the Sunset Center, just outdoors for I think it was a taco bar or something like that. Was that event at that time? Was that for volunteers?
That's a different event, and that was the purpose of the event. Not that we didn't thank volunteers who were there. That was an event that the city did to appreciate employees and then also board and commission members, and a couple of the adjacent groups, which is why I think that the volunteer appreciation is really important, because we have a lot of volunteers that work through this city, and I don't think everybody is getting the recognition that they necessarily deserve, and not sure that venue outside of the boards and commissions is the right space for that, which is why I think we can do a better job and that we should look into that. But I think that's what you're thinking of, Wanda, was that kind of combined party coming out of COVID at Sunset Center.
Yes, that was an amazing day. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, great. With that, we'll move to the 21 to 24 Community Activities Commission Strategic Plan and Future of Commission.
So at our last meeting a million years ago, we started reviewing our strategic plan, which is included here as an attachment, and I included some of the notes that we made, things that we can check off, things that we were carrying forward, that we've been working on over the years. And we've made quite a dent in our activities, especially despite the pandemic going on. And I appreciate that group for all of your brain power and heavy lifting, moving us forward on that. And I think, we've discussed updating the strategic plan and developing a new one. To that end, before we start, coming up with new initiatives to add to our list here, new objectives, to take a moment to think about who we are and what we're doing. This commission has changed so much since it was placed with the library department. So as you guys have mentioned, there's been a number of staff liaisons. The commission wasn't always with the library, and it's changed since I've been here. We went to kind of being more focused on special event permitting and car week kind of stuff to community engagement. And so I just wanted to do a check-in with this commission as we think about strategic planning to ask some questions. And I put them in here, and I'm sure you've all been thinking about this in depth for the last 3 months, which is kind of, who are we? What do we want to be? Why are we doing the work that we do? What is the role of commission in relation to what we do as staff for day-to-day stuff? And some of this is in, and I included in attachments as well, the bylaws and the Muni Code and all of that with our mission statement. So we do have some of these guiding documents. One of my least favorite questions on an interview or just in life in general, where do we see ourselves in 5 years? I hate that question, but I put it in here anyway because it's a good thought exercise. And that's it, just to start off a discussion with all of you. And I'm not sure the easiest way to do it. I'd contemplated a PowerPoint or, some sort of brainstorming session that way. But I thought maybe just a conversation between this group of people that have worked together for a number of years now to ask these questions and find out what you're thinking about the work that we're doing. Does anyone want to kick us off? Maybe our chair? Put you on the spot, John.
No, when I step back, I think we as a commission are empowered to really help the city support activities and help the city support the community groups to ensure that our community has a vibrant kind of community culture. Our work is so crucially dependent on the staff and the help that we get from staff to execute the visions that are kind of thought of and hoped for at this commission. So, it's crucially important, and I think, our effectiveness is probably going to be greater or lessened by who we're staffed with from the city, how much time they have, and the amount of time they have to focus on these activities versus other responsibilities that they have for the city. So we've been so lucky to have the team that we've had from the city working with us that has allowed us to, I think, create a more robust community calendar to allow us to help the other community organizations that are looking to host activities. And so I think it's going to be crucial, and I just want to go on record of saying I think it's crucial that as we're thinking about staffing at the city level, time spent with our committee and our commission is going to be an important part of that. It shouldn't be an afterthought in anyone's role on the staff level. And I think sometimes it can be. It can be looked at as, hey, here's your daily job. Oh, and by the way, you're also going to take care of the community activities or the library or whatever it may be. So, we can talk about what we're here to do, but I also really think it's important that the leaders of our city, the councilmen and women, the mayor, understand that we're going to have plenty of ideas and opportunities, but our success is really going to depend on the team that we've been given and the time that team has to help us execute. And so that should always be something that we have at the forefront of conversation when we're thinking about staffing and when we're thinking about these commissions.
Thanks, John.
When I reflected on this, I was thinking about when I joined the commission, we were more focused on adding programs or what programs are we going to do. And it seems like that has become not necessary, that it's more of an evolution of our programs now. And so I think that shift in focus, needs to be recognized as you get, especially as you get new commission members, because typically you think, oh yes, let's create, something on St. Patrick's Day. I mean, that's not what we need to do. I think we need to look at improving programs and the synergy among the other activities. I mean, it's something that I've spoken a little bit about, but we do have so many other activities that don't seem to be joined in any kind of formality if we support or not support. So, and I think the city should have a role of marketing and promoting other things that come in, because the average person doesn't know, is this a commission activity versus an organizational activity? And I think that umbrella needs to be bigger, and I would like to see the staff, do more in terms of publicizing what else is going on. I mean, I think I've mentioned to you, especially about the Forest Theater. I mean, I live, around the corner from the Forest Theater, and I have had times difficulty figuring out what is playing there now. If the website isn't updated, there's not, and the average visitor should be able to go somewhere and see on a given night what's happening. And no one's picked up that ball, and I don't think anyone else can pick up that ball except for the city.
To that point, would one of your comments be that we as a commission potentially should continue to drive more awareness or more publication of this? Is that
yes, yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember when Nancy was part of our group, and we were talking about social media, and and believe me, I am so far behind on that. But she was really pushing us to be leading that effort so that there'd be social media. And so I don't know what the best way to do it, but I mean, you have to market and work with, all the agencies that are involved.
Right, and to some extent we are doing that with the Friday letter.
Yes, excellent.
And so those things are coming to us now. Leslie puts the Friday letter together every week, and so she sees all the events and things. So those things are being added to that. And in terms of our special events calendar, we are including our regular annual events that might not be put on by the city, such as Carmel Art Festival and the Vintners, and these regular things that we process that we know are a part of our event landscape throughout the year. Social media is, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, excellent recognition for the Friday letter, and I think I've made comments to you in the past that, yay, hurrah. I mean, it looks fabulous, and it's a great way to organize. But there's only, 300 people who, maybe I'm wrong, in the hundreds of who get the Friday letter?
It's over 1,000 now, I think, are close to it.
Okay, I stand corrected. But you already have the instrument, so the question is, where else will that go besides the Friday letter? And, we need to blast that as much as we can.
Which goes back to John's comments about the city needs to step up with staff to this commission, and we shouldn't be the afterthought, and we shouldn't be, they need to devote. We need a social media person. We need somebody running these things, and
First of all, I think that the staff does an extraordinary job, and I'm always thinking, what can I do to help? Because you guys have a big, big job, and besides everything else that you do. And what John and Linda said is correct. The city manager and the mayor and the council needs to acknowledge and support your tasks that you take on for the commission. I think that this is a wonderful calendar, and I'm the newest commissioner, but and I think that the outreach to other groups and organizations is so important and wonderful, and brings their marketing and promotions and showcasing what the city does. I would like to see more information like this wonderful poster flyer that you have that's so colorful and points out what the commission is doing. Also have what Sunset Fridays are doing, and so that there's one place that all of the community and residents, but people that are visiting, the tourists, can go to. Social media is very important, and that was one thing that I was so surprised about, that the city does not have a social media presence. And Carmel Chamber does a great job, but it's only so much, and somebody has to tell them. So I think that marketing and promoting what's already done and having it up on the city website and having a social media presence, Instagram maybe instead of Facebook, for instance, is important. And then always sending all of the flyers and the posters and the images to our partners so that they're using it and putting it up, and then it's shared, is really important. But I think the staff does a really great job, and engagement is so important, and that's what I see the commission doing since I've joined, is really community engagement. That third Thursday is wonderful, and that can grow a little bit. So thank you, kudos to the staff for all that you do.
John, who are we? I look at that, and we're a collection of community volunteers trying our best to enhance the city in some way, and as is all the commissioners. And who do we want to be? I think we're evolving. In the years I've been here, we've evolved tremendously, and I think in 5 years we will have evolved more. And either our role will be change or will go away. And there have been commissions that have gone away, and because they had outlived their usefulness. But as our city is so popular, I agree with the presence of one calendar, but that's been in the works for 15 years. And the problem is, I'll tell you the problem. First of all, you have to have a dedicated city employee. Secondly, you have to have every nonprofit and every group send them information. And that's where there's an issue, because some groups are small, the Rotary or Lions, and they don't have anybody to send that they're having a gala or something. And that's where Connection Day and Volunteer Day, and the Women's Club, we did nothing with the city up until 10 years ago. We didn't do anything with the chamber. Everybody was in their own world. And the word is collaborate. So now we collaborate with the city to their advantage, our advantage. We collaborate with other groups. And that's what the Volunteer and Connection Days does, is go, oh, I can maybe get trash bags from that group. Or now I've got Carmel Cares volunteering for me at the Women's Club. They didn't exist prior to this. So I think, we wanted, and we have no rec department. And that's when the yoga in the park is our, quote, only recreation. And we have no art department. At once we were called cultural, which we really didn't do anything cultural, but there was a talk about us approving statues around the city. And that's not what we're supposed to do, but it doesn't mean that we couldn't do. So, and then the wall, the thing we have on the wall, that was supposed to be evolving, different artists, and we can look at that. So I still think there's a big role, but exactly what it is at this moment is not, I don't know, because we've evolved. And people ask me about pickleball. All the cities are adding pickleball courts. Why aren't we? Well, we don't have a rec department.
Pickleball on the courts over there.
Yeah, more. They're adding more and more because it's now a pro sport. But, I mean, there's so many things that we don't do because of our size and space, but there are things that we can do. And collaborating with all the nonprofits really is the key. And getting everybody, we have to somehow get everybody on that Friday letter. That's a big help. Man, I watch it, and there's so many people, they don't send information to Leslie. She can't share it. If you send it, Leslie will share it. So we just have to keep beating the bushes and get nonprofits and all these groups. Let us know. Who can they send it to? So I think we're evolving, and I think in a good, healthy, happy way, that we assist the city and we enhance experiences of the community and for tourists and visitors. And the kids. We still welcome children here. So I think we're evolving, and exactly in 5 years, if I was still on here, maybe we'd be doing more rec or more art. But we certainly have lots of culture. I just signed up for the garden walk in June, and I just came back from the Bach house tour. But you have to pay attention where those things are advertised to buy tickets. Mm-hmm. I mean, I pay attention. You look in the Pine Cone, KSBW has it on there, but you really have to tune in because there is no one place. And even the county doesn't have a calendar. It's hard. And there's no real answer until there's a designated person and everybody sends them information. Thank you. And I love the staff. I take them food sometimes.
And I think in the end, we are a representative body of this community. And I don't know if it's in 5 years, but ideally, if we can show that our commission has the ability to enhance or enact change for the better for this community, ideally, I'd like to see 15 or 20 people in this room during our meetings helping us, and representing the community that we represent. So ideally, there's a way, whether it be, in the Pine Cone once a month, proactively from a city standpoint, listing all of the commissions, reminding people what each of us does, and then posting, these are the meetings and these are the topics that they're likely to speak about. Show up at these times if you'd like to participate. I mean, in a way, we need to push information to our residents and the people that are coming into town. And I think sometimes, I hope people would go on KSBW. I hope they'd be proactive and look at our city's website. But let's also look where the eyeballs are already focused, and that's really on the Pine Cone. And then we've done a great job with the Friday letter, bringing, I think, more of the residents into that community awareness vehicle. But if we're going to be effective and if we're going to be relevant, the community needs to see us as that relevant body for these types of activities or interactions or community events. And that really only happens if this room can start filling up with people who have a view so that we can accurately hear them and then represent them based on, what they're saying.
I remember when we used to have people in the room, though, and I wonder what happened.
Well,
we used to have.
Pandemic happened.
No, this was before pandemic happened.
Yeah, but when they could zoom in, but yeah, we used to have the
but
Sunset.
on Zoom either, except for
Sunset was here. Remember, Sunset was here.
Oh, yeah.
The Pine Cone was here, and if we were going to vote on something, there would be people here. But we haven't had an issue to vote on, be it the indoor theater. That's when they show up. So we need something to vote on every time. And then, because I go to the city meetings, Ashley knows, I go to the PACT meetings and some of those that involve me personally or the Women's Club or the city, I show up. So since we don't have any controversy, and they can go online and watch us now too. So it's a changed world.
I have to say that last Friday's letter, I went, whoa, there's a lot of flyers and information here. And I personally have been sharing that letter. But one place, as we've been talking about, is really important. I'm sorry I don't know this, but is there a way that, you can go on your city's website, the city's website, and click and get an email with the, so that you're sent the agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
All right. I'm sorry, I don't know
You
that,
can
but okay.
subscribe to any topic that's of interest to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we
you
have a
can
whole
shoot it
long topic list of anything that you could want to get an update on. And that includes the Friday letter, city council agendas, whatever your jam is. There's a whole list of those things.
Yeah, and the chamber has a great Tuesday Catalyst email, and we put up on the CRA website. We don't put up like theatrical or Sunset Center events, but we put up all the city meetings and any of the special events that the city is hosting on Ashley's list as well. Those are on our calendar. We don't necessarily push it out real heavily, but also am very promotional with the CRA Facebook page and the Carmel-by-the-Sea Be Neighborly page on Facebook. So those cover a lot of the activities that are going on. And with the quantity of meetings and opportunities to have a voice or participate and have fun, it's you need to almost not be working engage in a full-time type way. And we encourage folks to participate and have their voice, because we're not all going to agree on what's wonderful and what's not, and that's okay, because we welcome diversity of opinions as well as people big time. So there are a lot out there. It's just a matter of finding it. But again, the chamber, actually, you also visit Carmel, and Carmel website, Carmel CRA website also have just a ton of information and or emails. So there's a lot out there, but it's spread around to the point that you guys, I think, are making, which it would be great to have it all in one place.
Thanks, Nancy. Any other, I don't know if we've addressed every question, but I know there's.
That's helpful for me. Everything that you guys have said to bring back something to you for the next meeting to continue the discussion. Especially since we've got, notes from the strategic planning discussion the last time around. Is there anything anybody wants?
I was just going to add, the chamber, if you belong to the chamber, you can put your information on, but if you don't belong to the chamber, you can't. So, which we belong. But I think maybe thinking about companies, maybe the city, and I know Bobby and the mayor and everybody tries to get to events, but maybe the city, some of you could get to some of the events around town and let the city buy 2 tickets to, like I'm going to the chamber event this week, Friday. I went to the women event last at the Hyatt. But maybe the city needs to send some of their people and have a presence in some of these things. And you tell the MC that, you know, either you were a ticket sponsor or something, that they know that you as employees and as a city are out in the community. We're not always coming to you, that you go to, you're participating in these different activities, and make it known. It's a PR thing. Make it known that you're not just here and we're out there, that you're participating. Oh, even if it's in Carmel magazine, you know, all of those things that show the city cares, I guess is the word, but is connected. They're not separate. We're all together. And I think this commission is doing a great job on that with the farmers market and the library with the kids. So it's another suggestion.
I have another PS here. Obviously, with all of the work that the city currently kind of puts its arms around, you need help. And you can't do it by yourself. I know you rely on the VIPs and sometimes the CERT teams, but you know, continuing to encourage people who are really willing to do work to help you produce events is essential. And I don't know how you can, you know, manage the folks along those lines, because that's work too, to manage volunteers. But, you know, again, to have a cast of committed volunteers to help the city produce what it needs to produce in whatever ways is allowed is a critical part of the mix here. And I know you acknowledge that, but continuing to emphasize that, I think, is important. And people like to contribute. It's just a matter of, again, managing them.
I think that's a great point. I mean,
well,
yeah.
About 8 or 9 years ago, they tried to have a volunteer sign up. I don't know if anyone remembers that, with the city. And they did get people signing up and to the city if they needed help in the park. And I know people that did sign up, and nothing ever happened. They didn't, you know, they said no one ever called or emailed, because it takes a staff person to manage it. And many of us get requests to help volunteer, the Arts Council or something, and it's a big job. But they were trying, and then people move away, and that's another difficult job, to manage a city, to manage a whole group of volunteers. Not impossible, but very difficult. And they started to try it, and it didn't happen at that time. Thank you.
And you know, the social media presence, that couldn't really be a volunteer, because you'd have to make sure that you were on point, on brand, and yes, and appropriate messaging. I was wondering, the flyer that you made for the year, was that going to go up at the post office?
Absolutely.
And Bruno's.
Does Home Crafters Juring, I mean, I'm not sure that belonged on the...
It's, you know, Leslie and I talked about what goes on here, and we included all of the things that, you know, one, we manage, but happen annually that we get questions about year round. And Home Crafters Jurying is one of them. When can I jury? I mean, as soon as Home Crafters ends, we're starting to get those things. So having those frequently asked about events, when's the sandcastle, all of that's on there, and Home Crafters Jurying. That's why that's included. It might seem like it's a small thing and not necessarily an event, but it leads to a bigger event, and
Yeah, okay.
it needed to be on there, I think.
No, I was thinking about us as jurors.
Oh.
And I'm going, why is she putting us as jurors? But yeah,
Yes.
I get, yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of those people, the the home crafters come from very far away, so.
Having it scheduled in advance so they know when it's coming and that we have a date on there so people can plan. And again, you know, people hear about home crafters or they attend it and they get really excited and they want to participate. So.
Yes.
Do you have a deadline on applications for that?
It's a day of, so everybody comes in that day and submits their application and is reviewed by the jurors.
And where is that going to be held?
Hopefully at the Women's Club.
Oh, okay. Well,
Because that's where we scheduled it for.
I think Nancy and I have
It's
keys.
on the calendar.
Yes, thank you,
Nancy and I have keys.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, do we feel like we've, at least for now, I mean, I think, look, we're also going to be faced with ideally two new additions coming. Have we identified, or I know we're in the process, but have we selected the two new?
No, not yet. So the city clerk is out this week and we'll be working on scheduling interviews with the board and commission applicants across the board. And I think that's happening the 17th. Thank you, Leslie.
Great.
So.
Great. And so part of this exercise is to ensure, and I think it's with any board or any commission, to the extent you have history and you can put the history of the progress on paper, when people join, they have the opportunity to learn about the history and almost start, you know, in stride. And I think it also allows us to be more seamless as we move forward with, you know, people coming on and coming off every year or two. So I'm excited to meet our new team members, our new commissioners. But you know, thank you again for all the work we've done together. Any other items on that bullet point?
No,
number
thank
6?
you all for this discussion. It's been great. I got a lot of notes here, and so I'll have things to bring back to the commission to continue our strategic planning discussion.
Great. Future agenda items. Would anyone like to add anything to the future agendas?
I'm sure Ashley will have some items. We always have the farmers market.
Yes, we always have the farmers market, but we'll do a discussion on our budget for this year. The council's going to take the first swing at it next week on the 16th. I did ask for an increase in funds since we have upped our game with the third Thursday and have made some changes in terms of equipment and contract support for some of our events. So that will be before them for their review. And I'm looking forward to that discussion.
And you have an increase for the farmers market?
Yes, that's part of it for the overall budget. Mm-hmm. I mean, costs have just increased overall, and this is going to be our first full budget back in the swing of all the community activities events, including the pumpkin roll.
Thank you.
Great. Well, with that, I think we're adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nancy.
Thanks. Oh, Ashley, I'd like to call you, or vice versa.